Recording. Great. Share screen. Great. Okay, welcome everybody. Hi, it is Friday Night Comics again, and maybe, as we always say, maybe it's Saturday morning for you, or maybe it's Friday, just sort of late afternoon, or maybe it's some other crazy hour. Welcome. Thanks. We're so glad you're here. For some of us, it's Friday night. Where are we? We're at the Sequential Artists Workshop, the We Believe in Comics workshops, but tonight is a reading. Anyway, SAW is a 501c3 nonprofit. Maybe you've heard. You can find courses and other things at learn.sawcomics.org. That's all the things we do. In the spring, we have some courses, merch table with Tommy Parrish, which I think is going to be really kind of cool. And I think I might even take that one myself. Tommy's going to talk about making stuff that people want, which is not what I normally do. And if you want to read a bunch of Emily Carroll work with Yanni Cooper and take a real deep dive into that, now you can sign up for that. You can go to learn.sawcomics.org there too. Justine Mara Anderson is teaching an adults only class. You can believe that. Shadow Dance. You can go find out about that. Kara Gormley, but that is in July. We don't need to push that, but Kara is one of our readers, and Kara is going to be doing this amazing course called Shame Stories. Next week in this location, we'll have Sketchbook Church with Walter Medling. He's a super cool Providence artist. Let's see, what else are we doing? Saw Graphic Novel Intensive is coming up, starts in June. There's still 6 weeks or 7 weeks to sign up for. We're just getting started. Oops, I thought there was another slide for that. But anyway, we do that once a year. And if you really want to make a lot of progress on your work, on your graphic novel, on your long stories, that's the place to do it. So come join us. That's at learn.sawcomics.org. Terrible Anvil is still up and running with me and Jess Rollifson. It's our podcast. Last week was how to develop your own style. Actually, that was 2 weeks ago. This week was all about starting over. So come take a look at that. You can YouTube it or search it on podcasts and stuff like that. Anyway, thanks for donating tonight or any other night or any other time. The donations help us keep these workshops free, helps us keep scholarships up and running for people, and it keeps SAW up and running. We really appreciate it. So you can do PayPal, Patreon, all these other things. You can be a sustaining member, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, cool. We don't have to worry about inappropriate speech or imagery because we have everything prepared tonight. And you can jump in any of our conversations with the Friday night workshops at Comics Workshop. We're going to put all of our readers' info in the chat a couple times during this presentation. Tonight is oh wait, well, that's a lot. Sorry. I want to tell you about Seesaw Comics, where you can read other work, and also the weekly PDFs we've been making. Last week we did Creepy Crawly PDF, looks like this. We're really excited, and so go to Seesaw Comics, which is there, and you can look for the Friday Night Comics logo and see some of the PDFs we've been making, and you can participate in those. Anyway, enjoy. Tonight is the comics reading. Thank you, Michael Ashner. Thank you to all of our readers. This is where we get to really just savor and enjoy some of the hard work that's been happening here. My gosh, I'm so excited. Let me figure out how to stop sharing. There we go. I'm going to spotlight Michael, I'm going to spotlight you, and then you do this re-spotlighting because I am going to shut up and enjoy this because I'm super excited and I get to back and watch what everybody's prepared. I'm so excited. Okay, I really am shutting up.
But I just wasn't expecting to see my big fat face right in front of me.
Oh,
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another SAW community reading here at Friday Night Comics. Our plan is to do, I think, 4 of these a year, and we just send out an open call and invitations to artists in the SAW community who are willing to share their work. I'm Michael, in case you don't know me. It's just Jones on Instagram and Doc Eeyore of Paloozaville. And tonight I'm proud to present work by 7 artists who were invited to adapt their work for tonight after the readings, questions, and then open the floor for audience questions. I'm glad Tom mentioned the PG 13. There are, I think, maybe 3 F-bombs that you will encounter tonight, and that's right on the equator between PG and okay, let's get started. I'm going to remove my spotlight and introduce each reader for the reading, and we're going to have their contact information. I think Tom has that. He could paste that into chat. First up is Britton Sukes. Britton and Megan Sukes have been creating comics and stories for over 25 years. Here's their piece called Contact, an epic graphic poem. Hi, Britton.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's see. Sorry. There we go. This is Contact by Britton and Megan Sukes. Beep, beep, beep. Bay, bay. Beep, beep. Do, 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 do. Oh, Vitage. My name is Nadja. I'm organist at this village. You heard my music and just let yourself in. I see you're stuck. Road is clogged with sheep? Follow me. Let me introduce you. Ugh. My airplane. See this bullet hole? I was on observation mission. I saw a radio tower. Pow, pef, pow, pow. Getting closer look meant getting into enemy range. My assignment was to look. But what else are twin machine guns for? Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat, trat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Vroom. Trat-tat-tat. I flew close enough to see. Trat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. I saved many lives that day. Trat-tat-tat. Vroom. Trat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Trat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Vroom. Vroom. Trat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Trat-tat-tat. Vroom. Boom. Vroom. Piff. Puff. The bullet missed me by 4 inches. Now I need those 4 inches. This American showed me how to fly her. Sam didn't think I could fly. But soon he noticed my natural instincts. He taught me how to fly by the seat of my ass. But I like to fly too fast. Sam went back to America. He took my brother with him. I never saw them again. Wings can be rebuilt. I wish I could be fixed so easily. You have to love being in air. Like that aristocrat. Pop. He had been shot in his head. He was in my village to recover. He hired my father to install a magnificent harmonium at his estate. My father was a master woodworker. Later, he built elaborate coffins. This aristocrat asked me to play music for him. He said my playing would help him heal. He stared at my feet on the pedals. Then he spoke to me. Kaput! Little girl, this new plane takes 2 to start the engine. Contact! She's ready to go! I was in love. No, not with him. The aristocrat taught me rules for dogfighting. Then we were invaded. Times were full of funerals. They hunted in pairs, like animals. I saw they were weak little men. Pow! Pow! I took my freedom where I found it. I played at every funeral, so they left me alone. My father would say, "Sometimes best place to hide body is in coffin." This bird was harder to hide. The aristocrat left her when he went back to war. He got shot down. Kaput! I knew someone would take her from me. I asked my brother to help. He insisted he would fly her. Contact! I learned freedom must be seized. Freedom has a cost that must be paid. He never flew her again. But I was not afraid. Death is freedom. So why not open your wings? Contact! Now to clear your road! Bay, bay! Do widzenia! Goodbye! There we go.
God.
Thanks for all the applause. I appreciate you.
You know, the silent applause. I knew I'd forget to unmute myself. Um, just beautiful and just one flavor in our banquet of comics tonight from so many different voices and sensibilities. I hope you enjoy what we have in store. Um, Next up is Kara Gormley, a cartoonist and biology professor based in the DC metro area. Their comics have been featured in the Washington Post, Mother Magazine, and Spiral Bound. Kara's here with an excerpt from their graphic novel, Reboot.
Reboot by Kara Gormley. I used to be a badass. A typical morning looked like this. I could make myself do anything. I should run 5 miles today. I would feel good about 5 miles. I should write another grant. Is my hair boring? It's fine. The paper's not going to write itself. I need to start today. I needed to start yesterday. On my typical daily run, I was lost in my thoughts on autopilot.
I should get right to work on that grant. I gotta figure out what to do about that reference again.
Oof, why does that muscle hurt again? It's fine. I can ignore it. It's not that bad. Come on, just push through.
I need to email students about that data. That stat. I need to make that article review for class tomorrow.
Yes, found it. I just need to finish this part. If I could just work faster. Whew, only 2 hours left. Gotta get this paper done. And give students feedback on their work. And. What did I even do today? My life began to fall apart on a day that began like any other day. Hmm. Hmm. I wonder who it is.
Wow. I think a lot of people related to the overlapping inner thoughts and were really great. It's funny how the more personal we get in our work, the more we tap into that universal experience. Hearing that. Next up, we have Bob Hot Wheels Stevens. He's an artist, printmaker, zinester, and musician adjacent. Graduate of Ohio State University and Southern Methodist University, and professor of studio art at embarrassing institutions in the Midwest. Here's Rob's comic, Brent Bindle at Faith. I'm gonna need to unmute Rob. Oh, there we are.
Oh, two. Okay, let me share. All right, can you guys, let me turn that off. Okay, well, thank you guys for, oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Rob, we can only see like a portion of your screen. Oh, there, I'm seeing more of it.
All right, is that good?
Not quite, right?
Hit
Okay,
slideshow and maybe we'll see the whole thing. And if not, we'll try again.
You see the
well,
bottom 2/3 or the
okay,
top 2/3.
let me escape. And,
There we go. Now we see the whole thing.
okay, I'm gonna hit slideshow. All right, well, my computer is very touchy. So this is a draft. My name is Emmett Bindle, artist type. Robot Mills Stevens, and it's a cautionary tale. Episode 2, Bad Faith. Like many in the big city, Emmett hated thinking about where he came from. To be
Rob, we're
considered,
not seeing the next screen. We're still
Yeah.
stuck in the cover.
okay, I do not know what my screen sharing is paused. What?
That's okay. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
I don't know why it's paused. Let me just stop. Oh, resume share.
Yeah, try that.
What the hell? Is that doing anything?
I still see like
You go to slide 2, maybe we can
Oh,
test it out. Oops.
okay. Stopped it. I'll try it one more time. I'm sorry.
no
All right.
worries.
No, this is This is mortifying. Let's try it again.
Well, a
It's all good.
little fumbling is what we do here at Saw.
Yeah. We aim to fumble.
All right. Click. Okay. Can you see?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now I can.
All right. Let me.
Yes. Yes.
Like many in the big city, Emmett hated thinking about where he came from to be considered a country bumpkin. It had been stupid of him to assume that simply because he didn't fit in at home, he would fit in the big city. Maybe it was all a mistake. Maybe it was just too late. He wasn't good enough for all this. Maybe you could take the boy out of the country, but not vice versa. Smash cut to the past. Smash cut to his hometown. Flashback music. Insert A short description of Hog Bottom Hollow, population 284, and tried to avoid being an exposition dump. Think countryside, think warm pies cooling on windowsills, think laundry, sun drying on clotheslines, think unlocked front doors, jarred vegetables, tire swings. And also write something with subtext, because subtext is classy. Something thoughtful, maybe something that a writer or even a poet would get hired to write. Imagine something subtle, and I cut the word deft out because I don't want to be showing off. Emmett! Emmett, where are you? Emmett's imagining his life in the future. For sake, Emmett, do you know what time it is? Emmett, Bendo, stop all that finger flapping right now. You're wasting time and paper on all this art nonsense. Just wait till your poor hardworking father gets home. Here's the hardworking father. No son of mine is going to prance around drawing or whatever he wants to call it. I guess he's too good for the slaughterhouse, huh? Too smart, too fancy for the family business. These lazy pigs aren't gonna butcher themselves. Imaginary future. There is no crying at the slaughterhouse. Don't worry, Patsy. Nothing will happen to you. Someday, when I make it as a big-time comic book artist, I'll take you with me. Stop naming the products, dumb ass. Only citified babies waste their time talking to animals. Patsy was so upset that she only ate 2 of my peanut butter sandwiches. There's Patsy crossing her legs, all classy. What do you want, Emmett? What do you want, Emmett? Hi, Sally. I wanted last night I drew this for you. I hope you like it. Well, oh, really? Thanks. I'll keep it with all of the others. Lots of girls, lots of girls get real flowers, but these are good too. So, I guess you're all set for that job interview at the plant, right? I wouldn't worry about it too much. Your Paul works there, and so there's no way you can ruin it. You know how lucky you are. I hear you could take handfuls of meat home for free. Plus, workers are issued sledgehammer, half price. Here's the senior high, Barnacle Senior High. Lots of troublesome students. In all fairness, Barnacle Senior High is objectively terrible. Mrs. Blister's math class is plenty terrible also. Math, it's for bullshit. The only way I could get through the monotonous math drone was by drawings. Each sketch of my number 2 pencil against the paper drowned out Mrs. Blister's yammering. I could lose myself, sketch after sketch. Polished enamel desk cold against my palms. Other students seemed to like my drawings, even the simple, lazy ones. Mrs. Blister, however, was not a fan. Terrible, extra wrong, F minus. They're real pretty, Emmett. I love them. Well, they're pretty dumb. The drawings were a misdirection, diverting attention away from me. Mr. Hunt, the art teacher, wasn't much of a fan either. Mr. Hunt had opinions. Emmett, stop wasting everyone's time, Mr. Bindle. I suppose you think you're a big fish around here. Well, let me tell you, everyone thinks they're circus material. Well, not everyone is circus materials. They hope they are, but they're just not. Why? Everyone wants to be the head ballerina, but the world can't support so much ballet. How many ballerinas can there really be? Someone has to mop the stage. Someone has to clean the toilet. What the heck?
Oh no, did we lose Rob completely? That's a
Oh my
cliffhanger.
God.
How much? I think we have to
Well,
wait
he
for
said
Rob.
his computer was temperamental, and I can't remember.
The art
Um,
teacher got him, Saris.
I, I know this. I saw this a few days ago when we did our tech rehearsal. I was still cackling, I think almost laughing up blood and almost peeing at the same time. Um,
I think that's other
High
people.
praise. Uh,
If,
well,
maybe if he comes back, we'll sneak him in between readers to finish off,
yeah,
right? I'll let you
yeah,
handle
yeah,
it.
we'll do that. Okay. Uh, well, we're unmuted during the tech rehearsal, so Rob knows how our little group reacted. Okay, so next up is Maya Itsova. Maya is an artist and a filmmaker who ventured into comics in 2019. I met her at the Saw Graphic Novel Intensive in 2020, a year later. She is from Sofia, Bulgaria, and lives in Montreal, Canada, with her partner and toddler. Here's Maria with Max Foster Dog, an excerpt from her graphic novel in progress, Pieces of Me, about psychotic breakdown and recovery.
Okay. Max Foster Dog, excerpt of the graphic novel in progress, Pieces of Me. Oops. Over a few years, my world started shattering. Emotional connections between me and my loved ones were mysteriously disappearing, leaving me in fear and confusion. Finally, I experienced a psychotic breakdown, losing my sense of self and my connection to reality. My life was in ruins. Help, I'm getting sucked into space. Are you okay? That was scary. Help! Oh my, she's also flying into space. Listen, we have to find a way to stay grounded. Yes, this is an emergency. How about getting a dog? Animals are grounding. So I looked into getting a dog. The best option was to get one temporarily. The SPCA has a foster dog program, and I signed up for it. Max, Husky German Shepherd mix, 2 years old, given away due to move, fostered for behavior. A big dog. I think he'll be able to ground us. Here is Max. You can walk him just so you know he doesn't like men. That makes 2 of us right now. I felt a Darth Vader male presence following me for days in my head. But I was not just scared of men. I felt that I was in pieces. There was no me, no self. Only thoughts and feelings flying erratically. So I was scared of everything, including Max. But this is an emergency and Max will be helpful. My friend came to pick me up in his car. He's a big dog. The first night I took Max to the dog park. He got into a fight with a Great Dane. One big dog, one humongous dog. Lesson number 1, he does not like Great Danes. Stop it, Maxie, owner of the Great Dane. Don't get in there. These are big dogs. Let them work it out themselves. For the next 3 months, I turned into a worried mom who is dealing with her child with a problem. Heel, Max. Max fake attacked men. I went to the men in the dog park and got them to give him treats. He's a good man, Max. Look, I can even pet him. Can you give him these treats? Sure. Grrr. Let me hold his leash. Sure. Come on, Max, let's go for a little walk. It's okay, Maxie. It became evident to me that Max had been abused by a man. That made 2 of us. It's okay, I'll take him back. All the worrying about Max took my mind off the absolute chaos in my head. Who am I? Without our sense of self, everything is a threat, but I have a knife to protect us. Help, I'm constantly getting sucked back to space. Who am I? Who am I? Don't worry, I'll save you and stop everyone around us. Please don't stop anyone. I want to live in peace. I want to be whole again. Nobody is a threat. They're part of me. I want to merge with the universe and everything in it. Stop trying to merge with everything. I know it feels good for a moment, but it just makes us fly into that space again. So I was getting grounded in one way or another. Maxie, stop, Max. Maxie, look what you did. I even considered adopting Max. Okay, Maxie, we can't run after every squirrel. There are 20 here. But then I realized that it might be too much for me. Stop, Maxie, you have time out. Me holding him down with all my force. I felt like the single mom with a demanding child. 15 minutes later. You're calmer now, okay? You can get up. And I myself was broken. Let's go home. I had to accept this for what it was. Every time I move my hand fast, he shrieks with fear. I took care of Maxie for 3 months, reestablishing his trust in a human. Don't worry, I'm not going to hit you. He took care of me for 3 months, giving me lots to worry about but my broken brain. He'll Max, no, we are not going to go after that cat. I went to visit mom in the summer. You have to bring back Max to the SPCA if you're going away. Oh, okay. I left him with a long note. Max is a German Shepherd Husky mix. He's scared of men. He chases squirrels and cats. Maya. When I came back, I called the SPCA to take him back. Max was adopted a few days ago. I exchanged a few texts with the young woman who adopted him. Maxie loved young women. Bonjour, j'ai adopté Max. Bonjour. I decided not to see him, let him move on with his own life in his new family. 3 months later. Bonjour, Max is doing much better with men and squirrels. Great. Max had definitely helped me. I was not well, but I was a bit better than the disaster at the beginning of the crash. Let's collect ourselves. I'll miss Maxie, but it is good that he found a loving home. I tried to foster again, but it never worked out. I want to take the puppy. It was already taken. How about the old dog Graf? Taken too. We'll have to walk the rest of the road on our own, but we are better. We are eating, we're sleeping, Darth Vader has gone away, but we're still in pieces. And everything is still in ruins. Yes, we'll have to start rebuilding.
Oh boy, Maya, that just goes right to my heart. And I know Kathy Edmonds in the house. We both lost our dogs. They really enrich our worlds and center us. I think I saw Rob find his way back. Can we find him and make him co-host? He can
Yeah, done.
finish
I did
with.
that. Yeah. Yeah. And wow, thank you, Maya. Yeah. Uh, Rob should be able to come back.
All right. I'm
I
not
want to hear.
seeing him on the grid.
Okay.
I think that comment got to a few of us, Maya. Some of
I
us
want
wiping. Yeah,
to.
cool.
Oh,
Such a treat to hear the comics read in the voice of the author. Rob, do you know approximately where you were when Zoom spit you out?
I have no idea. I was going to ask you guys. It doesn't
I
matter. I wasted everyone's time.
no, no,
So,
no. Circus. The
No.
circus. He's
oh, geez,
going
you
on
did
about
a
it.
lot of it. Okay.
Yeah.
I just kept reading. And
You didn't waste anybody's time. You know, technical glitches are par for the course. We want to see the rest.
okay.
While Rob finds a spot, I want to remind the readers after reading, go take a look at the chat because people are really moved by these stories, and it's definitely worth.
Oh, and while I do this, it would be good if someone could copy the chat because it all deleted when I got kicked off. So
Sure
I
thing.
don't know if anyone was making comments, but
I love the art teacher and the math teacher.
oh, good. Well,
Love
that's
all of them.
People were laughing. Rob, you're lucky I was muted because I was cackling. Um, I saw a lot of other people.
okay. For some reason, it all shut down. Okay.
It's okay. No worries.
Okay. Mm.
We'll fix it in post, Rob. I'll edit it so
Oh yeah.
no break.
No, I know a lot of film kids. I know it's always post.
That's about right. Maybe the next slide, right?
Yeah. Okay. Am I sharing with you?
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, okay. Embarrassing. Okay. Everyone wants to be the head ballerina, but the world can't support so much ballet. How many ballerinas can there really be? Someone has to mop the stage. Someone has to clean the toilet. And believe me, that stage is mopped slick with the tears of failed dancers. So you may smugly think you're a hotshot here, but that's no big thing in the big city. That's far cry. Back in the day, I fancied myself on track of making a big splash in the art world. I even won Pride County Art Fair. I was a local celebrity, and I didn't want to squander that opportunity. I didn't have really a clue of how to begin being an artist. So when Barnacle High offered me this teaching gig, I clung to it like a drowning man to a life preserver. And as the clock ticked, 1 year bled into another. And before I knew it, a decade had slithered by. Well, is this going to be on a test? Fine. You all think you know so much. Making art won't get any easier than it is right now. If you aren't actively trying to shield yourself, then you might as well just give up and be a number cruncher. Well, that's what I hope to do. There are so many good number crunching job openings at the Patriot Steel munitions plant. And I plan on becoming the first lady CEO of that bullet factory. I'll be a tycoon. Under my leadership, and of course my superior math skills, that factory will thrive. It'll flourish. Really? I didn't know that. Well, you would have if you had asked. I wouldn't worry about it. Not with those grades. Well, that's way harsh. Shut up, Emmett. Stop ogling my caboose. Is this creep bothering you? Once again, her suitors don't suit her, am I right? Gay. Stifle it, all of you. We've got one more final assignment. This year, thanks to a generous offer from the fine folks at Serenity Meats LLC, there is a chance for one of you to win cold hard cash. To celebrate the 50th anniversary, they are having a poster contest. They want images about how succulent, fresh, wholesome their meat is, how delicious, how nourishing, how patriotic. Examples. So that'll do, and any way you slice it. Top heavy with taste. Gentle hands create tender meat. The winner will get their work published, and you'll be handsomely rewarded with a gift certificate of up to almost $100. Lots of students objecting at the same time. Objection, 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 objection. Everyone is so suddenly ethical and political minded when there's homework to be done. Convenient that you all have issues now that you have work to do. I just can't. Patsy was born on St. Patrick's Day and she stood out from the pack. It's a shame, a worthless front. Geez, Dad, there's no need to body shame her. Don't listen to him. You have star appeal. Here, you can have my lunch. You could take a 0 if you want, and good luck graduating. And listen, if you really feel that way, why not just enter the contest? Use that prize money against them. Donate it to an animal sanctuary? Some such animal rights hoo-ha. Yeah, I guess I will make something so horrifying that will make them wish they never asked. Art should be used as a weapon after all. They'll hate this. It'll expose the shameful truth. I'm gonna ruin their art show. For sure, those monsters. And so, extra, extra, small town high schoolers slaughters competition. Serenity Meats LLC selects a winner, and it's a local teen receives Meat Appreciation Award, and he's unlikely winner receives almost $100 in gift certificates. As an award-winning teacher, it comes to me, well, this comes as no surprise that one of my students won this competition. My name is Hunt, and you can spell that with an H. And this is cliffhanger. And I think that's it. I hope I didn't get lost, but we'll see.
You made it to the end this time, Rob. Fantastic.
Okay, thank you very much.
Fantastic. And I just want to remind everybody, maybe you've seen one of our previous readings. I mean, we put up a post to the SAW community. We're doing this reading. Who wants to read with us? We invited a couple of people. And the challenge was, make your comic, a little theatrical for a reading event. So that meant people would take something that was originally designed for web or print, load it, and present it in a completely different way. So that's what you're seeing, these adaptations. And they're also different. It really feels to me like a 7-course meal. And next up, we have Liz York. She's a watercolorist and published author who joined SAW in October 2021 to channel these disciplines into making comics. Her latest comic about her crazy therapists, Psyched Out, slated to appear in SAW's Troubled History. Here's her comic, Demonstrating New York, which you can find in SAW's Where We Live anthology. Hi, Liz.
Hi. Here we go. Sorry, I'm looking for my button to go. Oops. My turn to screw up. I don't see that. There it is. Got it.
Can you maximize the screen like we did last time?
I had been working at the computer all day. My head hurts. It's time for a walk. Outside, helicopters flew over the Brooklyn Bridge. I went out and walked under the bridge, headed for a bookstore in Soho. Oh yes, I've been hearing helicopters all day. I wonder why. As I walked under, I saw people held phones up toward the bridge. Oh, demonstrators march on the bridge against the war in Gaza. Wow, the chanting is beautiful. So many different types of people are there. I need to walk. Just walk. Demonstrators are on the bridge, so these drivers are angry and jamming. I made my way through the crowds in Chinatown. My head was pounding, but I couldn't get home. I saw Marilyn Monroe, leprechauns, and a motorcycle gang. Halloween. Yes, Halloween parties are tonight. Next, I met a man and his golden retriever, Walter. It's like living in a war zone. Helicopters, police are everywhere. Crazy traffic tonight. I can't walk Walter on Greenwich Street. I wanted to walk northwest, but the streets were blocked, so I tried to turn around and go home, back east. The demonstrators passed, and I listened to their chants. Suddenly, the police came in back of them with lights flashing and sirens blaring. What the hell? The police is so close. Drivers ignored traffic signals. What the fuck? Get away from me! What the hell are you doing? On Greenwich Street, I saw a couple of women who marched. At the fountain in City Hall Park, I found peace. Yes. A full harvest moon lit up the gilded statue on top of the municipal building. As I walked home, I felt very lucky to not have a war where I live. There we are.
Because
Stop.
uh, now I'm wondering, it looked a little pixelated on my screen. Is that just my connection? Did it look clear to everybody? No, it was pixelated.
Was?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was a little pixelated, but we got the feel of it, Liz.
Oh.
You know, Zoom is weird. But you know, you also have the video, so you can hear the for people who want to see it more clearly. All right. Next up is Andrew Kozlowski, an artist and educator based in Jacksonville, Florida. While he's been making art for some time, he found his way back to making comics and zines in 2020. Since 2021, Andy's published a weekly comic on Instagram about his experiences as a father, husband, teacher, and artist. 2023, he established Paper City Publishing, imprint for his work and the work of other artists. Andy? I don't see you. Where's Andy?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. You slid.
I'm over here.
You slid to the bottom, man.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks for all the presenters. It's been really fantastic. And I'm pleased to do a little reading for you. I'm going to read, let's see, here we go. I'm going to read a little bit from this book, Shapes, that I did last year. And it kind of just started with this really simple idea of asking, if your self-worth had a shape, what would it look like? So let's jump in. Okay, let's back it up. As humans, we seek validation. And that's a long road. It's a lot easier to take on if we feel like the journey is worth it. But we're only human, so we're always looking for shortcuts. I think this is where trust, or lack thereof, plays a role in where we find ourselves. These shortcuts often look like others trying to shape us into shapes that look like them. Because the more shapes they see that look like theirs, the more they feel validated. Or the more shaping they can do proves to them that their shape is more important. When it comes to ourselves,
Shortcuts often take the form of, what's that? Yeah, no, I'm not busy. Yeah, I can do it right now. Like I was saying, it looks a lot like people pleasing. Squish. Changing your shape to what you think other people want because it seems easier, because it seems helpful, because it avoids conflict. It makes you feel valued. Pro tip, when you get real good at this, you can do it preemptively. Before anyone asks, then it feels like you're in control. As for institutions, no surprise there. The weight they put on us is enough to reconsider the idea of unique shapes altogether. Through force, bureaucracy, and peer pressure, they force our shapes to fit theirs, often with such uniformity and efficiency, we forget there were any other shapes possible. See, that's the hard part about all this. That our shapes are formed by so many forces in and out of our control. By other people, by ourselves, by institutions and ideas. It gets hard to know which is which. Unable to untangle, we find ourselves perpetually unhappy or unsatisfied.
That's fucking awesome.
Thanks, Liz. So I told Michael I thought that one ended on kind of like a down note. Michael disagrees, but so I said I'm gonna put another comic. So I'm gonna read one more real quick one called That Feeling. So here we go. That feeling that all these ideas are important. That feeling that all the things connect. That feeling, a buzz of idea energy, so good, it's hard to work. That feeling that you need to know, be, do more than you'll ever have time for. Now, a reminder that what you are feeling, seeing, understanding is an affirmation that you are part of it. And your job isn't to stitch it all together. Your job is to be a stitch. Thanks, everybody.
And I think you'll find if the readers go back in the chat, a lot of these personal stories are resonating with people who are recognizing themselves in these stories. That's something I love about comics and this all community, connecting us through these experiences. So our last comic of the evening is from Martha Coleman, an academic who secretly wanted to draw comics since the age of 6, finally realizing that childhood dream at the Sequential Arts Workshop. Martha draws nonfiction, poetry, and experimental comics. She wishes she could be reincarnated as a member of the French group that she'll pronounce when I can't speak French. And here's her experimental comic, Love, Politics, and Bowling. And where Martha slipped out of the, where there, okay, there you are. How do you pronounce that French group?
It's Uba Po.
Of course.
Yes, and Matt Madden is my mentor. So I really love comics that have to do with games and experiments. Just to set you up, it's going to be a little bit like that. And without further ado, I'm going to share. Are you able to see that? Okay. Love, politics, and bowling. Love story number 1. Hey. Hey. What? Where are you? I'm right here. LOL. Not my type. What does it mean? Workers of the world unite. Wait, what? Fact. Big yikes. I don't get it. Why am I here? I'm going to die alone. Existential crisis. Politics. You have nothing to lose but your chains. Okay, boomer. Existential crisis. You do you. All that is solid melts into air. Sheesh. Abolish private property. Dream on. Shaking my head. A specter is haunting Europe. This is our concern, dude. What? History repeats itself. No. Yes. What? History repeats itself. Love story part 2. Yo. What? Love. Wanna dance? Cringe. You know the rules. Wait, what? Why? Existential crisis. We are no strangers to love. Yeet. I got you. Love. Take me home. Yes. Riding across the desert on a fine Arab charger. Nice. I love you. I know. Finale. Bowling. Nice marmot. Are you looking at me? No. I will be your knight in shining armor. For real? No. LOL. Not my type. Abolish private property. Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man. I've got a bad feeling about this. Same. Wait, what? Shit. This will not stand, This aggression will not stand, man. Fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling. All right. Special thanks to Bella and Nadia Solomon, who helped me with some of those phrases. And that is the end of my presentation.
Oh, gosh. I remember when you emailed that to me and I was keeling over. I love that comic. So we're gonna do something unusual. We're just gonna take a 2-minute break, and then I'm going to ask the artists a few questions, and then we'll open it up public QA. And by 2-minute break, I mean I have to pee. Maybe somebody else has to pee, and then and then we can pick it up. Is that okay, Tom? Highly unconventional. I'm not the only one. I saw Jim Hamilton.
I guess it's okay. But what if we don't want to leave? Maybe we can. Um,
Hey, Tom,
well,
how you doing? What's
we
going
should,
on?
hi, Andy. Hi, everybody. Hi, all the readers. Maybe we should just play some music. Do.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what Michael's got planned. I could say some things, but then he'll come back and say similar things. But um, uh, I'm also going to take myself off of speaker view and go to gallery. This was marvelous, you all. Thank you so much. And there's so many depths in this. And again, I want to make sure the readers check the chat because there's so much, so many connections made. So many people really feeling these comics. And I feel like we've been on a long, such a long journey already. Like we started with that airplane comic, with Britain's airplane comic, and that seemed like days ago because we've been through so many ups and downs. So I really, yeah, I want to thank you all for signing up for this, for doing great work at our community space. Thank you so much. And oh, Michael's back.
Yeah, I'm trying to yeah, that's what I want to
Oh
do.
yeah, you can do that.
Just want a spotlight. Add spotlight. There's Liz. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm missing 2 people. I have to find Rob. If you see Rob, where is Rob? There's Rob. I found him. Oh, and Kara's right next to. Oh, damn, I did replace instead of.
You want me to handle this, Michael?
Yeah, could you handle this? This is like, or if we both do it there, it needs to be add, not replace. There
I
it
got
is.
it. I got it. Just get your questions ready.
All right, my questions are all ready. And
Missing one? I think
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're missing somebody. We're missing.
We're missing Carol.
We're missing Kara.
Heather got
Yes, Kara. Awesome. So I'm going to go in the order that people read, starting with Britain. Um, Britain, what inspired Contact? Can you tell us how you developed it?
Yeah, I was in the SAW year-long program 2 years ago, and Tom gives this really awesome workshop on narrative voice, and it's fantastic. And I got really into one small trajectory of this old lady that I had telling a maybe inconsistent story, and it just kind of ballooned. And then my partner and wife, Megan, she's like, "This is like 400 pages, man. Like, you can't draw this." So, like, she's a storyteller and an expert. She just we cut it together down into 16 pages of just crammed graphics. So 2 years later, then it gets done. So I said, Tom, dude, this is finally done. You got to look at this thing because no one else will look at it. So then he's like, come read it for the rest of the students. So I feel like this went totally full circle. So thanks everybody for giving me the opportunity to do it. It's
And you
really
took some
fun.
extra steps to adapt it for this event, and it was so
Oh
cinematic.
yeah, I
Was that
chopped it up real good because it's like 16 pages, and I just had a lot of fun in Photoshop for the last week or two. It's just like, okay, stop what you're doing, make it into something that's workable. I like that it can be shared because once a story can be shared, it becomes kind of a twofold wisdom system. Not just in my head, it gets out there, and so it was really cool to share it in a couple of different ways too. So
yeah,
just awesome.
what I've heard from participants in this reading in the past is when they adapt it, they experience the story in a different way and gain some insights. Was that? See, everybody's
Yeah,
nodding.
yeah, and especially reading it because my wife is a voice actress, so like I'm not an you know, old lady, so I can't really pull it off as well. But I appreciate again
Did did a
trying.
great job.
Thanks,
Did a,
guys.
um, Kara, Liz, Maya, Rob, you can all unmute. Uh, um, Kara, I have some questions. Uh,
Sure.
so I hear you're in the process of creating two different books right now. Is that right? Two?
Yes. Mostly one that's under contract with Street Noise Books. That book is tentatively called Reboot, and it's essentially like a story of an unexpected journey to heal trauma. And it's really also like the story of like the really banal, like trauma responses that are so deeply wired in our bodies that we don't even recognize them when they pop up, in like really mundane moments. Yet they're like just so deeply formed in us, like with these formative events of our life. And then kind of what life can look like when we do a lot of work to heal. And the second book is um, a series of braided essays that are looking at the climate, like impact of climate change on puffin populations and the emotional inheritance of estrangement. So, like, two really, really distinct topics rated together. It's a big challenge. I think book two is kind of like a reaction to book one. It's like how I'm processing making the first book.
Wow. Um, and, and something that I'm personally fascinated and curious about, when you tell a personal story like this and start but to visualize it, are you, what does that do to the way you look at your person?
Can you say the last part of your question? I missed that.
When you start to visualize a personal story in comics form, does that change your perspective on the experience? Do you realize anything in a different way?
I think so. I think it's like unpacking like other layers through the making of it. And I think it's also like about, for me, it felt like so compelling. Like I just felt like compelled to tell this story. And um, there's something, I don't know, I think like currently I've been really wrestling with like why I'm making it. And there's something about visualizing that feels like really, really powerful. And it does. I think it is like changing me in some way. And there's something about making this really hard thing become beautiful. It's like the pages that are the hardest are the ones that I really like perseverate on, if that makes sense.
It does. It really does. Um, Thank you. And Rob, have you come down from the technical mishap? Are you okay, dude?
I'm good. I'm fine. My
All right,
computer.
cool. I have some questions for you.
Okay.
What we saw today, is that a chapter in a longer piece or is it self-contained?
It was going to be, but now I'm liking it as maybe its own story. So I'm working on a bunch of stories that are theoretically around the same. So it's sort of a devil at the crossroads um, type of thing.
Well,
So
something I love about that comic is you're filtering these characters through different styles, yet we know we see the continuity of these
I,
characters, the teacher, your protagonist. How are you just
I
feeling your way through that, or how
feel,
are you approaching
feeling my way through it. I mean, not to sound positive, but I considered that one of my big weaknesses. So it's like, oh, there's no way anyone can tell what character. I'll just put them in the same outfit every panel. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm wildly inconsistent. But then I decided I'll just lean into that. Because, people people will follow it because I tell them to. I don't know. So I'm aware that the fonts are all over the place and that the art, but some days I'm in different moods. And I used to primarily be like a woodcutter. So now, like for like prints, and now I just use the computer eraser as a chisel, I guess.
I mean, it's a problem most comic artists struggle with. How do we make our character consistent from frame to
Yes.
frame? And I feel
It,
you solved it by not caring at all, and yet giving us some
I,
trademarks to connect. And
I've been
it's
known for being passive resistance person. So I was like, well, this is a problem. It's fine. Maybe it'll be my super strength or something.
I think so. I love the energy and the spirit, and so so funny, Rob. Maya, I feel like your comic and Kara have a connection, a thematic connection. Um, can you tell us a little bit more about the bigger book, Pieces of Me?
Yeah. So basically, it's about the onset of psychosis and then the recovery process, which took about 12 years. Um, so the first part, a lot of you have seen me actually work on it in the graphic novel intensive. It's all collage and it's silent. And then the second part after the breakdown, it's in the style that you saw tonight. So there is actually more talking and narrator and yeah, and it's healing trauma too because psychosis was like really incredibly traumatic. Um, so it took me a long time to be able to even talk about it, let alone like do art about it. So yeah, like that's that process of healing trauma through your art is I guess similar to Kara's work.
Well, I've seen other parts of it as you've been developing it since we met back in 2020. This excerpt was, I thought, so achingly vulnerable. And, I noticed during your piece and during Kara's piece, a lot of people like, that's me. I see myself in that struggle, especially the fragmentation, the way you visualized it and the way Kara visualized it. So moving. Um, where are you in the book? When do you think you're
Well,
reaching the finish line in any sense?
hopefully in a year and a half. The second part, I just had a grant to write the second part, so I thought it'll take me a year to write it, but it's actually taken me a bit longer. Because it's just going through 12 years of stuff, and you're like,
want to
Yeah.
put everything in, and then you want to take things out, and you know, it's not easy. And I have a toddler, so like on top of that, I don't have that much time. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping that I'll finish the thumbnailing and that will like give me what I need, the base I need to continue and to do the artwork. But it's slow, you know, I have to work slow. Basically, that's my reality right now. So hopefully in a year and a half, the book will be done.
Well, I'm rooting for you. It's so beautiful and brave. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Liz York. I'm going to figure out some way we can share the video because it came out a little pixelated and the work is so beautiful, so that others can see it. But how did Saw help your comics practice? I know you were writing and you were painting.
Well, I got into Saw because of Michael Ashner, because you were the one who said that it would be a wise decision to put together my stories and my drawing because I do that both. So, and when I started, it was with your Sunday open studio, and I learned about Linda Barry, and started doing some of those exercises in the syllabus. And then I took Beth Tremblay's class, memoir, and Beth really just put it all together for me in such a way that I could learn about how to formulate the story in the proper order and how to make a point, and not stress out about the drawing too, because that was a big deal.
Well, what was it like blending together these two things that you had practiced separately into one art form?
At first, I think that I was expecting, I was writing too much. And I realized that I could, with the drawing, you don't really need that much narration. You don't need that much dialogue. And I try to make them interact. And that was different.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that piece. Andy. I didn't mean to suggest that Shapes was an upper. I just felt like it's, I don't know if you intended to like deconstruct codependence. That's what it seems to me. And as a card carrying member of the Codependent Club, that comic really resonated. What are you working on now? What's new?
I just put out this thing, which is like, I don't know what it is. It's a toolkit. Um, I had this idea, so some people know that I have a risograph printer that I print with, and there's two immutable laws of having a risograph, which is one, you have to have fluorescent pink, and the other one is that you have to put out a calendar. And I have fluorescent pink, and I didn't do a calendar, but I had done the sketchbook as textbook book last year, and I had made my little like workbook about making comics that I give to my classes, and people were like, "We want it too," and I was like, "I'll fine, here's homework." And so I was giving people homework, and so when I wrote Shapes, in the back of Shapes, there's a little bit of like resources about like reflective writing, and I thought, oh, one of the few New Year's resolutions I kept was the one of doing the weekly comic. That actually is the New Year's resolution that I'm still doing. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to make this like workbook that goes with Shapes, and I'll release it in January. So now naturally it's mid-April. So I finally got it done. And I thought I would release it now when everybody's given up on their New Year's resolutions. But what it is it's like a workbook, but then I ended up with like all these mini books because I couldn't fit everything into it. So it's like this like whole little package of like things, but it has this comic in it, which is my origin story about doing I first put it on Instagram at the end of the first year of doing the weekly comics, and it took place over like the entire week of that last week of December, and it's called Goals. And it's just about like how we set goals and why it is such a pain. And I was doing, it's like part like awful research and part like collage. And so that I just put out and is available like now. And it's a pain in the butt to fold it. So get it while it's still there, because I don't know if I'm going to make it again. I might. It'll be all different colors, but I'll, so yeah.
And tell us the name of your independent printing
Oh,
press and how you started.
it's Paper City Publishing, and all the links and stuff are on my bio. But I got that name because here in Jacksonville, we our county is called, it's Duval County, so we have the annual Duval Comics and Zines Fest, and we have it here at our big beautiful library downtown, which has there's two zine collections in the United States that you can check out with a library card, and ours is one of them. And so we have this great zine collection. And so we have a Zine Fest, Comics Fest. And I drag the risograph printer down there. And we do live printing like all day. It's ridiculous. And so the idea of the Paper City came from printing for like 5 hours straight with everybody who was like 5 and up was making me collages and drawings, and we were printing, and we had this whole like creative endeavor built from our city. So I thought, well, what better way to build a city than out of paper, which is this beautiful thing to carry stories and is this kind of like immutable thing that you can pass around and continue on all this work. So yeah, so it's going to be June 15th. So I hope if you're in Jacksonville or close to Jacksonville, you make the trip. We'd love to hang out, and you can come make prints with me, and that would be awesome.
That's amazing. Thank you for being here tonight, Andy. And Martha, what are you going to do with these stories? And can you tell us about your other mini comics? Oh, and also before I forget, can you show us that cube? Do you have that cube with those characters handy?
Yeah,
Because
I
I
didn't.
thought that was amazing.
I forgot to bring it with me. I'm
Oh,
actually in Washington, D.C. We're on a little family vacation.
wow.
So I'm not at home. Um, but so Ubapo, that group, actually did do some cubes with different panels on each side, and you could like build your own story. So I have a bunch of I'm gonna make some more. I have some cubes that I'm making. I also made those cards so that you could play them as a game, almost like, one person plays one card, one person plays another, and you make a little conversation like that. My other comics, I actually chose those because I thought they were fun. The other comics I'm doing have to do with Kafka, so that's a lot darker. But that's what my final project is, an adaptation of a Kafka story called The Burrow. So I'm having fun doing that. So it's not only drawing it, but figuring out how to print it and assemble it so that I can give it out physically. And it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really grateful to Saw because, if I didn't have these prompts, I wouldn't be making this work. So the pikas actually came out of one of the year-long project prompts where we had to do panels that could be rearranged into different stories. So I kind of ran with that idea, and it's been fun. I've been collaborating with my nieces and young people and my son, and to just sort of come up with these random phrases, remix them, and put them together.
I think you mentioned that Matt Madden was your mentor in the year-long program. So I know he specializes in creative constraints and patterns and games. What did that work unlock for you?
Yeah, because also the idea of repetition and pacing to create a kind of a humorous rhythm. He's really good at that. And there's a lot of Ubapo work that uses that type of also thinking of comics as music, like it has a certain flow to it. And if you can get that flow to work. So that's why I thought this was really interesting, because to adapt it in live time is a different task. And I think a lot of the participants did a really beautiful job of building in that time, building in those pauses, and the sound effects were fantastic. So I really appreciated that.
Well, being a part of it. Of that. So now I just want to open Q&A to anybody. If you raise your hand, I didn't really think this through, Tom. How do I do that? Can I see people who, can I
Well,
see
people raise
raisers?
their Zoom hand, you'll see it immediately.
Yeah.
But
Okay, there it is. Yeah, if anybody has, oh, I see Emily. I'm going to add her to the spotlight and ask her to unmute. Okay,
Hi,
there you
thank you all. This is really wonderful. I guess my question is like to any and all of you who have done like saw programs or especially the like 6 month to year long program, what kind of person would you say is a good fit for that? And what have you gotten out of it?
Martha's in the year-long program right now.
Yeah, I'm in the year-long program. I've really enjoyed it. I think I like to draw and I like to do little projects, but I need a structure. I need prompts, I need a structure, I need an audience, but I found it to be incredibly supportive, really, really fun. I would definitely recommend it. And you can also be working a job and do it in the evenings because a lot of the calls are in the evenings. So I would endorse it 100%. Give it a try.
I know I started with,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, I'm
Sorry,
sorry, go
Michael.
ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was about getting things accomplished. So if like you had a bunch of stuff like almost done, I had like 20% of my work was 80% done or whatever. 100% of my work was 75% done. Anyway, that was the big thing I think I take away from it is that they actually got like set it up in a way where like your assignment was to finish a thing. So then you finished a thing and then you were like, oh my God, I could finish a thing. And then you got to the next thing and you were like, oh my God, I could finish two things. And then by the end of it, I had like five things I finished and then walked away and still kept making things. So that was the really cool, that was my takeaway. So if you're like one of those people who's like almost there, like hasn't quite pushed over, that's pushed me over the edge of like, oh gosh, I got actually got these ideas out into the real world.
I have a follow-up question to Emily's question.
uh-oh, did Michael freeze?
Oh,
What do you think that question was? I can't imagine what it was.
Another cliffhanger.
I know, so many cliffhangers tonight. Um, oh, Michael's really disappeared. Oh,
Oh,
wait, Michael, you're back. You froze. You were like, I have a follow-up question, and then
oh, my fault. It says my internet connection is unstable. Has the community been helpful to your comics journey or development? Can anybody tell us about that?
yeah,
Oh my gosh, I would love to talk about that.
yeah.
Rob, do you want to go first?
There you go. I'm good.
Okay. I'm part of the graphic memoir group and like I joined in oh gosh, in 2022 or 2021, I'm forgetting now. Maybe Tom remembers. But I was at a place where like I couldn't go any further. And it's been essential for me to actually make this book. And it's interesting because it feels like now near this point of inking the book, to submit the final product to Street Noise. I'm similarly at like a same kind of stage where the community support is like what makes this process so awesome because it's otherwise like kind of lonely to make comics. You're like, I'm like literally making them in my basement. Um, but when I'm with like Saw people, like the feedback is so incredible. It's like instructive and also, excuse me, like makes you feel held. It's wonderful. It's like what makes this process like so communal and amazing.
Rob, what did you say?
I completely agree. I was gonna say I took the graphic design, or not graphic, um, the 6 month graphic novel course, and yeah, um, the critiques are great, but having like a group that you're responsible not responsible for, but that you want to show that because they're working on things, and it is really helpful. It's nice to have a community. Also, this last few years, I got my wheels, and it's good to have an art community. I used to live somewhere else where I did, and so it's nice because people making comics talk about it better, I think, or more interesting. And yeah, and I just really like that.
I just noticed Sarah Cox said something very interesting in chat that I think a lot of us can relate to. So hindered by my fear of drawing, so weird to be compelled to do this about natural drawing skills. Um, what I see a few of you nodding. Can you speak to that?
I'm
That
a
struggle?
bit afraid of writing, so I'm with you on that. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I hate writing, so
I think for me, it's become like about the process and it's like less about the product. And it's like if you really lean in and like trust that process, then you're going to get there. Um, and I think that's also what's so cool about comics is like everybody has a style and they're all very unique.
hmm
Yeah, I would say for me, when I read Linda Berry and Ivan Brunetti, I just feel like after that, I'm like, okay, everybody can draw.
Mhm.
So I don't even like I know when I look at my drawings that they're not what I would like them to be. But then I'm like, well, that's what they are. Okay, move on. I try to have that attitude because I did go to art school and I used to draw a lot more and draw much better, and now I haven't had time to do that as much. So like, yeah, like I have to be more forgiving to myself.
Hmm.
I
I
think
mean, I
that's
think
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have that idea where every single well, I have to forgive myself, and Linda Barry helped.
What
Sometimes
what
it's like criticizing everything I do, every single line is just horrid, horrid. I hate it. And then instead of tearing it up, I do another one, and then I'm like, all right, this is going to be the last one. So yeah, thanks to
what
Saw, really.
in
what I noticed, because I'm one of those art school victims, where art school shut me down, and it took about 40 years to claw my way back to art. But what I've noticed in comics is you can have panels that are masterfully drawn but don't move you emotionally at all. And then you can have a deceptively simple art that conveys so much feeling. And in terms of storytelling, I'd rather sink my teeth into that than just look at rendered drawings.
yeah.
Yeah, I think like one thing I share with my students a lot because it comes up constantly is so I talk about I think it's Gary Panter's rules for keeping a sketchbook or drawing, and in there he says something to the effect of like you can't base this idea on like your drawing like that you're expecting to somehow like that there's a good version of you in the future that draws better and that somehow we think that that's a different person than the person right now. And so what he kind of says is like you have to get comfortable with who you are, like what's coming out of the end of your pencil now, because otherwise you'll never get to be that person in the future is not a different person. And somehow we kind of think, oh, there's a better version, an alternate universe me that like draws better. It's like, no, it's you. Like, and the only way you're getting there is by putting that pencil down and doing it and just like leaning into it, you know? So, and I told Michael and I were talking the other night and I said, and I really figured out how to draw comics. So I stopped caring what hands look like. And and I think Tom, there's a terrible Anvil episode that's about
Uh,
that. I was like listening to that and thinking that at the same time. I have a weekly that's like sketched out about that. So it's like all in the hands. Nobody cares. Stop caring. Nobody cares. Just like you have to just put it down. Like, Ira Glass says something like it's almost like every creative act wants to be terrible, and it takes such a force to make something good. But he also says like the only way you get good is by giving yourself some deadline or some moment. Like you just have to produce a lot of work, and it's not always gonna be good. Like, but who cares? Like, you know.
And I think in that same conversation, Andy was telling you about Iggy Hoffman, who
Mm.
was a member of the SAW community who passed away about a year ago. And she found our Linda Barry group and was drawing with us, and then said to me, I'm not sure I see any growth in my work. And I said, that's like standing in front of the mirror and expecting to watch yourself age. You don't see growth like that. It happens over time. And often when you look at what you were doing a year or two or more years ago, that you see that there's a trajectory that is only built on the willingness to keep drawing where you are. You know, you can't be more than
Y-
you and who you are.
Yeah, I think it's helpful to think of drawing as like an honesty, like whatever it is that you draw and however you draw it, that is you. Like that's your voice, and you know you can get an AI to do like consensual sort of depictions, but really like what's unique to you is how you draw, and it's sort of like it's just a trace. So I don't think if you're worried about it looking like a photograph or something like that, photos are horrible. I mean, in a way. So I think that's what I would think is it's like a type of confession is you're drawing. I don't know.
Oh, that's good, Rob. Did anybody else out there in the audience want to ask a question? Did you guys want to ask each other any questions?
I wanted to say something to Rob. I want to say something to Rob. No, I just wanted to say, uh, I totally know what you mean about making woodcuts or relief prints and then using the eraser tool because I do that same exact thing when I make comics too.
Okay, good. I
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm
It's
right there.
so fun to do like the black square on top of it, and
Right.
then I
Yeah.
mean, it's not as macho as like having Dremel tools or whatever, but it's a
There's
lot.
fewer splinters underneath your fingernails, but it gets you there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, exactly. So, well, that's
less
awesome.
blood. Martha says less blood.
Yes,
I
exactly.
see
Oh
Christian
my gosh,
Toro.
when I used to teach woodcuts, I would try to motivate students not to cut themselves because every year there's a bleeder. And I was like, you guys will get a pizza party if you don't cut yourself. But of course that backfired because then I realized people were cutting themselves and quietly bleeding and not telling people because they wanted the pizza.
Not seeking aid for pizza.
Yeah, teaching fail right there. So don't try that if you have students.
I used to get to say that I'd never had anybody injure themselves. Used to.
Oh, yeah, it's hot.
Let's take two more questions from the audience before we say goodnight. I see Jennifer Mitten and Christian Toro. Let's go to Jennifer because she has her camera on. Jennifer.
Am
I
I
think
unmuted?
there you go.
There you are.
Okay. Um, just quick question. I've studied a lot, and so you know, getting on there, not spring chicken, and have always had many health problems. However, at this point, it's kind of hard to predict when something's going to hit and how long I'll be out for. And that is the absolute only thing that scares me about entering into some commitment because I really honor my commitments and I've had to let a ton of stuff go that I really didn't want to let go. And I guess I just kind of thought that's it. But I love the community here. Um, so I'm sort of thinking I'll just wait and see. But I'm imagining that a lot of the presenters you can relate.
Well, Andy said something very interesting the other day about in order to to meet his goal of a comic a week required some letting go of perfect. Can you speak to that, Andy?
Yeah, well, I think like one of the things too, like so Shapes is 30 pages. I wrote it one page a week. There was one point where I finally kind of like sat down and wrote the sort of there. I knew that I sort of had an ending and then I kind of wrote the middle out. But for the most part, those comics are done like and I respond to them as I build them. So, but each page is kind of designed to have a kind of closure to it. And so I taught myself to write stories with sort of the goal, like the original New Year's resolution was to post one 4 panel comic every week. And so over time, you just like, well, I need to do 6 panels or I need to do 9. And so, but it was always based on that one page. And so I knew if I could do a page, I could do 2 pages or 3 pages. Like the mechanics are kind of the same. And so that, like when you talk about like enveloping yourself in sort of this longer process, which to me is like super scary. And I have to like trick myself into doing it. So I just do it like a page at a time.
Yeah.
What Michael's talking about is like I've made this rule. Like, so the resolution was to do it for a year and I've been doing it since 2021. So it's still going on. But I told Michael, you can tell, and this is the trick for everybody when if you look at myself, you can tell when I don't have time. That's not always, but like I use this over the shoulder look of like me writing or drawing or at my computer. And I'll use that when I don't have time to do anything else. And part of that comes from there's a band, the Mountain Goats, and there's a song called You Were Cool. And the line that John Darnielle sings at the beginning, he says something like, these are the same 4 chords that I play when I've got something on my mind and I don't have time to write anything else. And so I always love that line because he's basically admitting I'm writing a song using the chord structure that I've used a million times before that I know sounds good. And it does not matter because what matters most is I have to get this off my chest right now. And so I think about that whenever I feel guilty for like, plotting my way through these things. I'm like, no, I need to say something. I need to get something going. I need to get something off my mind. So, in terms of just finishing, it's like just getting that page out a week always makes me feel pretty darn good. And it also
So
makes me feel like I can stop too,
so like if health gets in the way, it's okay. Like sometimes health, like
I,
it's health I'm talking about.
yeah, I guess what I
Sometimes
would,
I am, not
right.
functional,
I
not.
think it relates. The reason why I asked Andy is because if you did a page when you can, when you feel up to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not a page a week,
Mm-hmm.
not post a week, but set a realistic goal and let it build and see what
Yeah.
happens and make it
I guess that's
manageable
the
for you.
reassurance I want because I can hear some of you guys obviously could not show up at certain points of your life.
Mm.
So
I,
that's what I'm talking about.
I
And
think,
it could be like quite a while,
Yeah.
that
I,
period.
Oh
That's right.
yeah, I think
not to minimize health issues or anything, but like the flip side of that, the logic that you're applying to that situation is to say, I'm scared to get involved because I might find myself unable to,
Right.
is no more logical than saying, well, it might snow in December, so I'm not going to leave the house in July. Like you don't know, you just simply don't know.
well,
Right.
And
I
so,
guess I'm talking more about the commitment to an actual course as opposed to like I'm showing up every
oh,
day. I'm
yeah.
working every day. I always do.
Well,
Always.
Beth has memoir classes that are really very helpful because she'll give you a lot of information right in the beginning, and you have access to that for the whole forever, really. And so you could download that information and use it whenever you want. So that's one thing. The other thing is that when you show up, she's going to say that you should work on one zine a week, and most people are in the class because they want to do a memoir. That's, their whole everything. And I went in there thinking I was going to do something and then wound up working on these memoirs. I mean, these little zines instead, right? And it turns out that I was encouraged by Emma in SAW to do a series of these things with therapy which was completely not what I was thinking to do. But it's really good because it's small chunks, you know,
Yeah,
and
no, that's I'm doing the small chunks. I was just wondering if can that be okay?
yes.
Yeah.
I'm very much about the small
I mean,
chunks
two
now. I
things I'm
got
thinking.
into the
But
Yes, I
small
think it's
ones
okay, Jen.
end up being big ones if you continue, right?
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
got stuff to continue.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
think
yeah.
I think the health thing, I mean, I can really relate to that. And I feel like what I did was really like when I wasn't well and I was not doing things. And then as soon as I could get the energy again, I would just pick up where I left off.
Yeah,
And that's
that's
how I,
encouraging. That's really
yeah.
encouraging.
Mhm. I think of it because I also have a lot of chronic issues actually. So like the energy, the spooning thing where you only can do a certain amount.
Yeah.
There's two ways to think about it is with the classes. When I'm not energetic, I still feel like I learn things just from looking, even offering advice to people is helpful to me because what they're going through I learn stuff from. So
Yeah.
that's, and then the other thing is or what I like to think is that, well, sometimes this is the type of comic a person with a chronic disease would make. And like, that's honest. Like that's, there needs to be that because plenty of people with chronic diseases read comics. And so it would be
Yeah.
great for them to read a comic by someone who has something in common. So I wouldn't feel bad if you're only able to draw a little bit while you're, watching TV or, cooking meals for your kid or whatever, whatever it is that's, or even not working on it at all. Hibernation is helpful sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Okay,
story started,
that's really helpful. Thanks.
I was going to doctors for cancer and other things. And so what really helped me was going to parks and drawing. And then I go to a doctor and then I go to the park and I draw. But it was small chunks while I was healing. It's part of my life. It's part of your life. It's something that
Yeah.
helps you heal.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much.
I
I
just was
think
there's a good candy put in the chat that says if you let the saw instructors know, they're incredibly supportive. I had issues in the year-long program and had to stop twice with hand pain and inflammation. They enabled me to have extensions as needed, accommodations if needed, incredibly understanding. So I think if there's tons of people in the chat all jumping in there. So there's lots of
Cool,
support.
thanks. Well, I
Yeah.
already feel so like it's fun. It's fun again. Like art and writing have always saved my life. But at a certain point, it was like anhedonia.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. And so I want that back.
and I'd just like to
Yeah, I
add
find it super helpful. Oh,
as a neurodivergent person, with ADD, depression, debilitating anxiety, I have learned that holding myself to impossible standards that are self-imposed that I can't meet because of who I am and how I work, um, it feels like self-sabotage. I have to say this is what I'm capable of, or this is
Yeah.
what I'm capable of today.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Thanks,
as
Michael.
somebody, small chunks, bird by bird, Sarah saying, it adds up over time. I think in order to make comics, even if you are a chronic self-loathing person like me, you have to figure out how to be kind to yourself in order to create. Because
Yeah.
if you're just like saying you're bad because you didn't draw today, I don't think you can get the traction we need. I know Christian Toro's been waiting.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Question.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jennifer. I know that question helped a lot of people. Christian,
Hello.
hi. What was your question?
Hey, Hey, first, first question for the comic. I sent you the comic. Did you get it? Tom singing?
Oh, I don't know, but maybe if you sent it to, did you email it to him?
Yeah, I'm not sure, Christian, but send it again and email me at one of the email addresses and we'll check into it.
Okay. Speaking of which, I got a question. How hard, how can you like try to make a good comic? Like, how can you like try to like work yourself with the comic of the things you go from? How can you do that? Like, how can you work yourself up? Because like, I don't know where to start. Should I start now? Should I start like first drawings there and then see how it works out?
Yes.
One panel at a time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think it's different for different people, and you got to figure out how you work, how your brain works. Some people write out a script first, some people dive in and figure it out as they go. I'm sure all the readers tonight work in a way that works for them.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing is you have to tell yourself like you have to finish something. Whether
Yeah.
it's a page or whatever, like you have to say this is done. Because
I just don't
otherwise
know.
you have this interminable thing of like a 240 page graphic novel that'll never finish itself.
I just don't know how to like feel like I just feel like pressure. Like, how can you take that pressure off?
Tell yourself that it doesn't exist because it really doesn't.
Mm.
That's just your brain trying to come up with the easiest way out of stuff, which you're like biologically hardwired to do.
Wait, we are biologically hardwired to try to do shortcuts.
Yes.
I think yeah.
What do you want to say?
Yeah, I will say it's a good thing to say because a lot of what you do, like most people don't want to see or read anything new. So you have to go out of your way to like force them to see your work. So if you're afraid of like them looking at and going, these comics are terrible, well, don't worry about that. Like, because you're gonna have to like force them, in a way, or at least I do. So
Mm.
I think you should. Yeah, start with small things. Start putting them out. Like let people look at them.
There's a thing in programming called Gall's law, and it says all complex systems inevitably develop from simple systems that work. And the second part says if a complex system doesn't work, you can't fix it there. You have to go back to the simple, like the next simplest place where it does and build and rework it from there. So I was thinking about that a lot. You don't start with the biggest thing. You start with one model and you logically build it and
Oh,
like they grow from there, you know?
so start small, then
Yeah.
start growing big.
Mhm.
Like from Oda.
Little things.
I
Yeah.
want to get back to something you said in the beginning, though, how to do something good. I wouldn't try to do something good because I think that's like
No, that's a
that's just like that never worked for me at least.
that's
But
asking for trouble, right?
it's asking for trouble. I would just I think Tom had that on his wall or something in a talk that I saw him in. I think so. That like don't be good, don't try to be good, be human or something like that.
Mm.
That like is it that?
Yeah, that was it. Thanks, Maya, for noticing. Yeah. Just
Yeah. So anyway,
Very
I
good.
think I would do that. So when you're human and you just are honest with your own experience, then like it's gonna resonate with somebody and that's gonna be good in itself. But if you try to make it good, then
Okay.
Listen, I'm going to share this thing that I have on a post-it note that's hanging on my computer, and then we'll go to Judith, and then we'll say goodnight.
Okay.
And it says, better shitty on paper than perfect in your head.
Oh, that could work.
Okay. Can't remember who, maybe Tom said it. I can't remember, but thanks for your question, man. And Judith, do you have a question for our readers? I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I was trying to unmute. Everything that everybody said, I completely relate to. It's like we're all part of this complete puzzle, and each one of us has the piece. It all fits together. As an older person, I want to say to everybody that your creativity is patient and waiting for you, and you don't have to have that panicky feeling that it's going to disappear. It just won't. That's one thing. Number two, I'm going to take the opportunity to kind of share this because it's so important. Um, I think that whatever you do, it turns out it has it's as if each piece of art you do has subtitles that you can't see yet. And everything you've ever done is a message to you about something that's trying to get expressed. And so it makes for a messy studio or a messy house because you have to keep track of all this stuff. But I just really want to, I feel like I want to comfort everybody because I've been so comforted by everybody's work. And each day I feel like, oh, this is saving my life. And then I think, uh-oh, maybe it's not. So yeah, I was really pleased to see this, and maybe I'll even volunteer next time. It's so great to see everybody's work. And a number of you, I've seen the work develop over time, and that's really, it feels very collaborative, is what I'm saying, what everybody's doing here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Judith. We went into overtime. So for those of you that were able to hang around to the end, I got so wrapped up in this conversation. Thank you. Everybody's unmuted, so let's give a real applause to our readers tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my God, thank you so much. So wonderful, everybody.
Awesome.
Everybody's allowed to unmute, so let's let them
Everybody's
do that.
allowed to unmute. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks, everyone.
Love.
Thank you.
Keep coming back. Keep making comics.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you, Michael.
Better shitty on paper than perfect in your head.
Love that.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good night.
Night. Eternal.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great job. Bye-bye. Was that helpful, Jennifer?
Yeah. It like really, really helpful. I mean, I'm not going to jump into some course. I'm not. I've done a lot of stuff in my life, and all I really wanted to know was it's okay if I get another cancer. It's okay if like I'll come back.
Yeah.
I'm scared of getting like, oh, so you really can't show up all the time because I've had to drop out of so much,
Yeah, I think it's like, it sounds like a course isn't right for you, and that if you take a course and you can't keep up with it, that's just going to confirm your worst, it's going to be grist for the fear mill.
Yeah.
So, but there are groups like Palooza that you can come to when you feel up to it.
Yeah.
And there are other groups like that, right? So maybe Sunday Open Studios,
yeah,
right?
I'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
Gonna see how it goes. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot, Michael.
I'm glad that you're part of this community, Jennifer, and I love your energy that you bring to it.
Thanks.
And your work.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
All right. Good night. Take care.